I am Johnny Massacre and welcome to my world. May your stay here be interesting. The UK has just passed a law that requires you to scan your face to use all major applications such as Discord and potentially Xbox, blocking you from seeing anything the government says is harmful content online. And it will lead to 2-year jail terms if you say anything online that could cause other users distress. Who is with me? Give me a hell yeah! So the Online Safety Act is here, y'all. The Online Safety Act came into effect on Friday the 25th of July 2025 in the UK. It's a 250-page behemoth, and it says that it's designed to protect children from stuff online, such as pornography pay and stuff like that. And as I said, if you cause anyone distress online, under this new Online Safety Act, you can be jailed for up to 2 years. The UK Parliament says it will make the UK the safest place in the world online. Its critics say it opens the floodgates to government censorship and government control of all social media apps and everything you see, read and hear online. So now you will go to jail for up to 2 years if your social media message could cause, and this is a direct quote from the UK government, psychological harm amounting to at least serious distress. Yes, this is in a country where Lucy Connolly is now in the middle of a 2-year jail term for criticising taxpayer-funded fighting-age refugees flooding the UK. So the immediate effects of the Online Safety Act in the UK are major platforms now require face scans in order to use their products, such as Discord, Xbox and stuff like that. So if you live in the UK, you may not be able to use the internet freely anymore. Huge sections of Blue Sky, Twitter, X, Discord and Reddit are no longer usable, including direct messages. This is real, my friends. Here is a picture of someone trying to use Discord, and they are greeted with this message saying age restricted channel. Now this comes in the wake of the T-app data leak, which leaked all of the applicants' faces and now personal messages. If you have to scan your face with all of these apps, there is the very real possibility that in the future there will be a hack and all of your information, including your face scan, will be leaked online for hackers to use and abuse. Big companies are not immune from these data leaks. It has happened to companies like Sony and Microsoft before. Some of the other effects of this vague 250-page bill called the Online Safety Act in the UK are, unless you give the government access to your face scan, you can't anonymously see, let alone take part in online posts, for example, covering migrant protests in the UK. And now the UK is seeing stuff like this online when trying to view protests on X against refugee hotels in the UK. Users are faced with a message that says, due to local laws, we are temporarily restricting access to this content until X estimates your age. I thought this bill was to help children and to stop them seeing pornography pay, but already on day one that it dropped, people already cannot see things online without scanning their faces, unfortunately. Elon Musk literally called this suppression of the people on X, and he's been retweeting even people like Tommy Robinson who are railing against this bill. You can see here people trying to access things on X, and they're getting a message from the UK government saying this content is currently unavailable because it may be harmful. Labour, who have presided over this bill being passed, but it was actually formulated during the Conservative right-wing government, have actually admitted that it's not really just to protect children. It is also to suppress people and censor things from fully consenting adults that the government do not want you to see. Here is Labour MP Barry Gardiner saying exactly that.
I'm sorry, the elite squad is not about children, actually. Shall I read you the thing? An elite squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay,
so the Labour government admit it is actually also to monitor adults. It wasn't really about the kids. That was a pretext to mass censorship. Now, in the wake of the Online Safety Act passing in the UK and being implemented last Friday, VPN use has soared 1,800%, according to the UK Telegraph. And now, according to other news outlets, the UK is considering, therefore, banning VPNs, aligning itself with the only other countries in the world to have currently banned VPNs, such as Turkmenistan, Belarus, Iraq, and North Korea. It could well happen. It could well happen. There are quotes from Labour politicians stating that they support the banning of VPNs, although no direct statement from the current government or previous government exists in relation to the online safety bill and the banning of VPNs. So we're going to have to wait and see in regard to that. In the wake of the Online Safety Act passing in the UK, there has been a petition that has reached over 400,000 signatures over 2 days, saying that they want the Online Safety Act to be repealed. It's actually 378,000 signatures in just 2 days. So what happened regarding this? Well, immediately the government responded and said the government has no plans to repeal the Online Safety Act. Okay, good. So it's here to stay, bruv. 4chan and R34 have already been banned in the UK in light of the Online Safety Act. Here is a post from Rule 34, and it says, Guna, too long didn't read, site blocked in the UK to comply with regulations. Absolutely crazy news coming out of the UK regarding the Online Safety Act. So people who are supporting this act say, you want children to see abusive stuff online, but in my opinion, this is a false equivalence. You don't need to create a socialist utopia that North Korea would be proud of to stop children from seeing stuff. And besides, parents can police their own children. We don't need a giant police state with your face scan and biometric data, who believes misgendering is a crime, deciding what is harmful online. If we give authorities these powers, I believe that they're going to start arresting people for criticizing them for, I don't know, flooding your country with violent, unvetted refugees. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. That's already happened. Lucy Connolly is in jail for criticizing the government for doing exactly that. If allowed to continue, in my opinion, this is exactly how the Online Safety Act will play out. The government will deem anything counter to its narrative as harmful, such as flooding your country with refugees, and will have your biometric data. So rather than having to go to X and desperately try to get the information from Elon Musk, which they won't be able to do, as proved by Brazil trying to do that, trying to get X to remove politicians who they disagreed with, now they can just instantly have your information, find out who you are, and give you a knock on the door from the authorities. Here is some information directly from the Online Safety Act saying what kind of things contravene it. Of course, the main thing is child say abuse and extreme say violence, but they also say this is the kind of illegal activity that they want to protect you from. They say the kinds of illegal content and activity that platforms need to protect users from are set out in the Act. And one of them is illegal immigration and people smuggling. So what that means is anyone who's criticizing illegal immigration is basically going to be called harmful and get banned and get a knock on the door from the authorities. The Home Office in the UK has already set out to monitor anti-migrant posts on social media in the wake of the Online Safety Act passing. Which is rather scary because the Home Office looks like this. This is what the Home Office looks like. And now they're going to police your speech. And if you criticize refugees from the countries that they came from coming to the United Kingdom and using the infrastructure and causing inflation, huge government spending, and sucking up all of your tax pounds, then you might be going to jail for 2 years for committing a hate crime that causes distress. The person who's in charge of this is the UK Secretary of State, whose name is Yvette Cooper. And the crazy thing about this is, apparently according to Darren Grimes, she can privately order the authorities to rewrite speech codes surreptitiously without even laying it before Parliament. So they can rewrite this bill to whatever they want it to be, to censor anything that they deem is harmful. Yes, this is true. You can see here within the Secretary of State's powers that they may direct Ofcom, which is the regulatory body responsible for censorship in the UK, to modify a draft of the Code of Practice if she believes that modifications are required for reasons of national security or public safety. So what that means is the UK can bring in loads of refugees, and then when people criticise it online, she can go to Ofcom, the UK's regulatory body, in order to get their post removed, highlighting the government's crimes. If you really want to see where this bill might lead, not just children's protection, but mass censorship, let's have a look at this article in The Telegraph. They say elite police squad to monitor anti-migrant posts on social media. Campaigners claimed on Saturday that posts about anti-migrant protests in the past week have been censored because of new online safety laws. The new unit, called the National Internet Intelligence Investigations Team, will work out of the National Police Coordination Centre in Westminster. The people who are going to oversee your speech online and ban you and potentially jail you for 2 years for wrongthink also led Operation Tala, the nationwide police response of the COVID pandemic, which included the enforcement of lockdown rules. This team will provide a national capability to monitor social media intelligence and advise on its use to inform local operations decision making. They're going to counter online misinformation. Yes, the Telegraph has also revealed that the minister set up a secret COVID disinformation unit during the pandemic, which was accused of suppressing free speech. These are the people who are now part of an online task force sent out by the Home Office, who are made up of a lot of Uslim May Ember Mays, who are going to now be policing your speech under the guise of the Online Safety Act. So we are now one jigsaw piece away in the puzzle from linking what you say online to your digital ID and your bank and your social credit score. It's illegal now in the UK to cause harm. Harm is completely subjective. You could have a transformer furry who has borderline personality disorder, who's taking a cocktail of mind-altering drugs, accuse you of harm and psychological distress, and therefore be thrown in jail for 2 years. That is how flexible and amorphous this law is. And now that we have a task force monitoring what you say online to find anything that they deem as harmful, such as criticizing mass immigration policy, all we have to do now is link your face scan, which is a requirement now under the Online Safety Act, with your social credit score and your bank. And we already know banks are willing to comply with this stuff. Just see MasterCard and Visa with the recent censorship of some anime stuff. And then you have your funds taken away. People have been calling this a conspiracy for a long time, but it's actually becoming real. So there you have it. The Online Safety Act is passed in the UK. What it means is to use major online services such as X, such as Discord, such as Xbox. You need to give a face scan, and you can and will be put in jail for causing psychological distress and harm should you say anything bad about protected groups, about mass migration, things like that. I'm Johnny Massacre, and if you're just joining us, we're discussing the Online Safety Act passing in the UK. But if you have been watching from the beginning, then stop your grinning and drop your linen, donate some cash, and let's keep winning. Streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre, Patreon.com/Johnny Massacre, and PayPal.me/Give me a hell yeah. You can donate now, and I'll get really happy, and I will read your comment out live. So I thought this was all about saving the kids, but already, according to Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan in America, the UK regulators have already threatened American companies with censorship. They know Elon Musk won't comply with their left-wing censorious demands, so now they're trying to find a loophole in order to censor X, and they're just going to ban the platforms in their countries or pressure them to remove the content. Jim Jordan says the UK regulators threaten American companies with censorship. We will be monitoring Rumble's position carefully. Okay, so Rumble might get censored. Anywhere that allows free speech might get censored. This is just so awful for so many reasons. What this will also do is it will make platforms self-censor in order to comply preemptively with any content that the authoritarian UK government might deem as harmful, thereby turning these once independent companies into government proxies. It's very, very sad. My American friends, If you think you are immune to this, then think again, because America has its own version of this bill coming, and people haven't really been talking about this. See if we can find it on X. It's called the Kids Online Safety Act. America has their own version of this bill. So it looks like censorship is once again rearing its ugly head. It looks like this. Kids Online Safety Act, introduced on the 2nd of May 2023. This is also when the Online Safety Act was introduced in the UK. And it's the equivalent of the EU's Digital Service Act and the UK's Online Safety Act. So if this passes in America, you are going to have to give a face scan to use any app whatsoever, meaning if there's a data leak, all of your information, including your biometric data, will be in the hands of hackers and malign actors. It also means if you say anything that the government deems as harmful, which could be literally anything, you could be in real trouble. Although America has more protections against this because it has the First Amendment. In a country like the UK, it's even more devastating because you can actually go to jail for things you say online. But in America, it's going to be much more difficult to enforce that. Nevertheless, them having your biometric data is awful, in my opinion. And it will just lead to more censorship and more government centralization into every aspect of your life. As I said, these applications will become government proxies. They already tried to do this with X. You saw the Biden administration where Twitter complied and removed posts and things like that. This would give the government sweeping powers to do that, bypassing X's safety protocols and possessing all the biometric data themselves, which would be just one phone call away, and these social media companies would have to comply and give them the data immediately. So America is trying to push this through as well. Beware, it's not a good day for freedom of speech and individual liberty as far as the UK goes. But the UK opposition parties such as Reform are already campaigning upon repealing these acts. Reform's part owner Zia Yusuf says Reform UK would repeal the Online Safety Act. So there's already massive pushback against it. What do you think about this? Do you think it's good for the children? It's going to protect the children? Do you think it's unnecessary? And do you think its real purpose is to police free speech? Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I'm always interested in your opinions and what you have to say about matters just like this. Massacre mates, my friends.
Zlen Omega says, hell yeah. Zlen Omega says, UK is not cooked, it's done. Therfamiliog says, freedom forever. Independent Many United says, hey Johnny and all. Catching up from the beginning. Independent Many United says, prison planet incoming. Zlen Omega says insane. Therfamiliog says, this is pure insanity. How the people are even allowing this is wild. Zlen Omega says reminds me of V for Vendetta. Independent Many United says, Mexico just passed something similar requiring facial recognition. Therfamiliog says, I'm about to just toss all my tech into the dumpster. Independent Many United says, reminds me of China. Zlen Omega says Independent Many United dang really that's sad. Zlen Omega says parents should be parents again.
Indeed. Thank you very much, everyone, for tonight. Stick around because we're now going to the pub, the lock-in, the cheeky live stream, which is like a British pub with mad British vibes. We're going to have a little chat, just a bit more chilled, a little bit less focused, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So you're going to be redirected there. See you in a second. Much love. Take care. Cheers.